Damien Hale, a powerful businessman, looks through his living room window when his servant accidentally throws his drugs on the floor. Later on, he meets with Carl and his best friend Martin. Damien fires Carl for calling the Damien Group a relic. Carl leaves the table telling Damien that nobody will care if he dies. Damien tells Martin that he has less than 6 months to live as his liver and lungs are metastasized. Martin asks if he has told Claire, but Damien tells him that she didn't return his call. After their meal, Damien asks Martin if he has heard of shedding. Martin has no idea about it and Damien tells him to forget about it. Damien tries to call Claire again but she does not pick his call. On his way, he brings out a business card of Phoenix Biogenic that directs him to Dr. Albright. Albright educates him about the procedure of shedding, which is transferring one's consciousness to a genetically engineered body. He further states that the process is only for the world's greatest minds. Damien wonders if it is all legal, but Albright asks him if he craves immortality. Damien visits Claire, who works for a non-profit organization and tries to make up for abandoning her. She notices that he is unwell but Damien lies that he is fine and insists she go on the walk with him, but she refuses. Damien offers her a check, but Claire rejects it because he thinks his money will solve everything. In his office, Damien researches shedding and sees a video of Dr. Francis Jensen online where he talks about how the mind can be free of the body. While he watches the video, he spits out blood on his computer and passes out. He is rushed to the hospital and he calls Dr. Albright. Dr. Albright tells him that after the shedding process, his old life will be over and he cannot contact anyone. Damien demands that Albright gets paid after the process. Albright tells him to settle his affairs and leave for New Orleans on Tuesday as his death needs to be public. Damien calls Martin to meet him for lunch at Orleans and travels out. Damien goes to a cemetery and buries a box. Martin meets with him at a restaurant, while he signs some documents. Damien takes his tea and starts to lose consciousness. He falls to the ground, prompting Martin to call an ambulance. The ambulance arrives, but takes Damien to Albright's hospital instead. Albright begins the process and transfers Damien's consciousness into a young healthy man's body. The process is a success and Damien wakes up as a young man. He looks at his dead body and becomes nauseated. Damien begins to hallucinate, causing Albright to tell him that dying has repercussions. Damien is taught how to walk, swim, and do other basic things. He gets accustomed to his new body. Albright prescribes a medication that will cure the hallucinations Damien is having. He explains that these are the side effects of his mind trying to merge with a new body. Albright tells Damien to use his drugs or he might die. Damien masters his new profile. His new name is Edward Kidner, born on September 20, 1980, in Phoenix, Arizona. After memorizing everything, Albright gives him a graduation present, arranges a car and house for him, and places the money he sets aside in a new bank account. Albright tells Damien that he will only come to meet him and give him his medications as his privacy is very important. Damien, now Edward, quickly adapts to his new life in New Orleans. He makes friends in the neighborhood, and plays basketball with them. He befriends Anton, and Anton proposes to take him out. Later at night, Anton introduces Damien to two ladies and he tells them that he is retired. Damien makes out with one of the girls, first in the car, and then he takes her home. Damien goes out with Anton, plays basketball, uses his drugs, and has fun with women. He seems to be enjoying his new life. One night, he checks his former profile with his daughter's picture and calls Claire. He is too scared to talk and cuts the call. He forgets to use his medicine and starts to hallucinate about a young girl and her mother. Damien meets with Albright to tell him about his hallucinations. Damien thinks that the little girl is sick and needs his help. Although Albright thinks that the hallucination is due to the fact that he missed his medication, Damien says that he knows her from his old life. Damien becomes suspicious when Albright describes the woman in his dream. Albright tries to distract Damien by planning a vacation to Hawaii. Albright doubles his medications and advises him to take them regularly and the hallucinations will stop. While Damien is packing his luggage, he is convinced that his hallucinations are real and checks out for scenery he saw in his vision. The landmark is in St. Louis, Brighton Country. Damien sneaks to the cemetery. He takes out the box containing his passports and money. He is taken to the airport but changes his flight and goes to St. Louis, despite being monitored by Wright's men. He heads to the farmland where the landmark is located. He sees a house and knocks but no one answers him. He decides to enter the house. He sees the picture of the woman and girl in his vision. He also spots medical bills. He sees a picture of him on the wall in the army. The woman, Madeline, returns and points a gun at him. Damien slowly turns around and the woman bursts into tears when she sees him. She calls him Mark and asks how he is still alive. While they talk, Albright men arrive at the house and apprehend them. It turns out Anton works for Albright and has been spying on Damien. Anton tells him that they just want the best for him as the woman thinks her husband is dead, using a terrible analogy as an attempt to calm Damien down. Anton tells Damien that Mark decides to die to save his kid, Anna. He was paid some amount of money to help his daughter. Anton tells him that he doesn't exist without Albright and advises him to return to New Orleans. Damien lies that he needs to take his medications and goes into the bathroom. Anton's man follows him and Damien overpowers him with Mark's combat skills. Anton and Damien get into a fight but Damien overpowers him and pushes him out. Anton orders his accomplice to burn the house with Damien and Madeline inside. Damien wakes Madeline and they go underground and he shoots Anton's men in the leg causing him to accidentally burn Anton and he proceeds to kill them all. Madeline is confused and demands an explanation from Damien, although she knows him as Mark. Damien tells her that he made a deal for Anna and that disappearing was part of it to save Anna's life. Madeline is angry at Damien, but she agrees to follow him and remembers that Anna is still in school. While Madeline goes to pick Anna, Damien checks through her phone and sees a birthday video of Anna. Anna wished that her dad could teach her how to swim in the video and gets emotional. Anna sees him and she hugs her thinking he is her dad and claims she knew he was not dead. At a nearby motel, Damien asks Madeline if she knows any friend's place where she and Anna could stay. He behaves strangely and leaves the room with his laptop. He searches on shedding and continues the video made by Dr. Francis. At the end of the video, he sees Albright and deduces that Francis transferred his consciousness to Albright. He begins to hallucinate about his past life and falls. Madeline wakes him and asks if he needs a doctor but he affirms that he is fine. Damien apologizes to Madeline. He asks her to trust him and they leave for New Orleans. Damien visits Mrs. Jensen, Francis's wife. He tells her that he is one of his students and he asks about his research. Mrs. Jensen reveals that Albright is also one of Francis's students and he comes to visit every Wednesday bringing her favorite candy. Damien asks her where he could find Albright. She doesn't know but knows how to get him. Mrs. Jensen calls Albright and asks him to come over. He meets Damien who confronts him about lying to him and asks for his medications. Albright tells him that he gave him what he wanted but Damien tells him that he never told him that an innocent man would die. Albright reveals that the medication is to erase Mark's memories. Damien asks that they go to the lab but he is disarmed by Albright's man and they take him to the car. While they walk, Damien hallucinates again. He attacks the guard and Madeline helps him. Madeline shoots a guard in his ear and Damien finds out the guard is Anton and Damien asks for his pills. Anton reveals that he has shaded multiple times and tells Madeline to ask Damien some personal questions like Anna's birthday, trying to cause a rift between them. Damien collects his pills and escapes with Madeline. She asks Damien to pull over at a store and asks him some personal questions. He opens up to her about the process and that her husband is dead, while Anna looks on. Damien tells her that he wants to help her, but Madeline doesn't know how to tell Anna. He advises her not to push him away as Albright and his men will keep coming. Damien drives to Martin's house and tries to convince him that he is Damien. He asks Martin for help. Martin does not believe him at first but Damien tells him something only the two of them know, and Martin believes him. Martin arranges the plane and tells Damien that it will take some time. While they wait, Damien teaches Anna how to swim and Madeline watches them. Madeline meets Damien in his room, hugs him, listening to his heartbeat. She kisses him, but he pulls away. She asks him to give her something that will help her remember that he isn't her husband. Damien tells her about Claire and her business. Anna finds his way into Tony's room, Martin's son, who died 2 years ago. Damien notices that all the mirrors in the house are covered. He figures out that Martin knows about shedding and he is working with Albright. Damien tells him that Tony's body isn't genetically modified as Albright claims, but he is someone else's son. Martin feels bad after hearing that and decides to help Madeline escape, while Damien stays back to buy them some time. Damien distracts Anton and his men. A car chase ensues and the guards notice that Damien is alone. Damien causes Anton's car to crash, causing multiple car accidents while the other guards go after Madeline. They capture Madeline and Anna after they run away from Martin and take them to Albright's lab. Damien meets with Martin and realizes that it was Martin that sent him Albright's business card. Martin gives him the medications and says that he had them reverse-engineered as he can't stand Albright controlling them. Damien plans to save Anna and Madeline and decides not to take the pills for 12 hours to get the lab's location. Damien sees that Albright runs his lab near an abandoned warehouse that stores Mardi Gras floats. Damien locates the warehouse and sneaks into the facility. He sees that Albright wants to transfer Anton's consciousness into another body. Albright tells Damien that he has a client that Madeline is a perfect match for and decides to transfer Anton's consciousness into Mark's body. Damien swallows a bullet, causing the process to fail as he remembers metal disrupts the process. Damien pretends to be Anton and answers Albright's questions correctly, making him believe that process was successful. Damien asks the guards where they kept Madeline and collects his gun. Albright notices that the machine is destroyed and sees the bullet in it. Elsewhere, Damien saves Madeline and Anna and helps them to escape. Albright tells Damien that he needs him as he will go into oblivion without the pills. Damien tells Albright the pills combinations and kills him with a flamethrower. Madeline and Anna escape to the Caribbean on Martin's boat. Damien visits Claire and tells her that he was his father's friend. He tells her that her father is proud of her and gives her a letter that contains all that he didn't have the courage to say. Claire reads the letter and smiles. Damien stops taking the pills and Mark's consciousness takes over. He leaves a video thanking Mark for allowing him to borrow his body and asks him to take care of Madeline and Anna. Mark unites with Madeline and Anna and they are happy.